Before we get rolling, full disclosure, SmartWings provided these dual shades for this video. They didn't tell me what I needed or had to say or get to see this video ahead of time. They're seeing it at the same time you are. Anytime a brand sends out gear, especially when it's as nice as these, it naturally creates a bit of goodwill on my part towards the company. And I'm aware that that can lead to a sense of bias in my reviews. But I mean, ultimately, if it's a true review, there is some bias. And it is your job to kind of see if those biases align with your needs and wants. And if you followed my channel for a while, you know that I don't pull any punches just because the product was provided to me. In fact, if you watch my original SmartWings woven wood shade review, I was pretty critical. I had a few issues with the blinds and the shipping quality, and I ultimately told viewers to go with the roller or dual shades instead, and that's where this video comes into play. With the disclosure out of the way, I hope that I can answer some of the questions you may have if you're considering SmartWings for an upgrade to your living space. So this video isn't a do-over, it's a genuine update, and I think it's a separate review from the one that I did originally. Ultimately, I took my own advice and upgraded to the dual shades. One thing that I mentioned in my original videos that I have dual shades, they're just not motorized in my upstairs space, and I paid a bunch of money to have somebody measure and install them. The price difference between the two and my willingness to put a little bit of elbow grease on my own part to put them in, it saved me a significant amount. I'd say it's probably a third of the cost. My upstairs has dual shades throughout the home. They have a clean aesthetic, and that now transfers downstairs towards my theater, my office space, and my studio. And they complement each other perfectly. The woven shades gave more of a rustic look, and it was a significant and noticeable transition from when you went from upstairs to downstairs. Not only is it a little bit darker down there, those shades kind of draw your attention into what you're looking at, as well as kind of closing in the space. The dual shades, however, have an exact opposite effect on the spaces down there. Now it feels more open, more bright, more airy, if I were to kind of like associate a word with them. That was one of the reasons I went with the dual shade. I wanted something sleeker, softer, and more adaptable, considering that light doesn't flow so freely in these areas. The dual layer design gives me options to work with. A sheer shade in between offers diffused daylight when the morning sun hits, and it hits pretty hard in the morning. And the blackout layer is for full privacy for those movie nights, and it works phenomenally, and it does exactly what you would expect it to do. And here's something I really appreciate. With the dual shades, you only have to move them a fraction of the distance to get to the right lighting. They respond quickly to presets. It takes a little bit of effort to set those up, but I think SmartWings has done a good job in enabling you to do so. And it can get a little tricky, especially when you're trying to set a favorite position in between the two slides. You just have to figure out like a motor speed, and then you can set that favorite position pretty easily. You don't need to have those full ups and all the way downs to get in between the two. The woven in the past, if you kind of open them halfway, they look a little weird in the living space and offer a lot less light in comparison to what you would get with just moving the dual shades a fraction of the area to where the sheer adds that diffused light into the living space. And like I was saying, you don't need to go with those full all the way ups and all the way down cycles that standard rollers require if you're trying to get light entering the room similarly. It's faster, it's quieter, and it's just smoother to live with. And not to mention, it also saves a ton of battery considering that these motors are battery powered unless you got the solar charger, and that adds quite a bit of life to the motor. If you remember that first video, I mentioned that a few boxes took a beating during shipping. This time around, the packaging was phenomenal. Tons of protective material, clean labeling, and clear organization for each window. It honestly felt extremely premium right out of the box and made my setup much easier since I didn't have to troubleshoot functionality or make repairs to the shades after taking them out of the box. And they look like a finished product. With that said, let's get into an unboxing, and I'll talk to you kind of through how that went. Here is a much improved experience over my first interactions with SmartWings. Seems like everything is really well packaged, and when you order 2 or more, they come packaged together in this very unique way of shipping. It has these little plastic corner protectors in this shipping packaging, and it's not even necessarily the shipping packaging, it's just the way that they've kind of innovatively put these two blinds together and package them as one. So this is a very different experience from my initial woven blinds that I got a couple of years ago. That is a very nice improvement from my initial impressions or my initial experience. I'm going to get into one of these, and here is some additional branding and label for where this blind goes. Because when you submit through the order process, you label everything, and that correlates with what your order is. So this unboxing experience in and of itself is it's just much, much better. If I could move this out of the way, I can show you inside here that this blind has bubble protectors inside, the 3M marking stuff, and the actual blind itself is wrapped in bubble wrap. There is actual mounting hardware and a charging cable for the motor in this one. So that tells me that the other box has my remote. Same experience with this additional protective bubble tubes that protect your blinds in transit. The marking 3M tape and the blind itself that is wrapped in bubble wrap. Here is the hardware and the cable, as well as the 5-channel remote. That does it for the much improved unboxing experience here on my theater floor. So let's go ahead and get these installed and get back to the video. I just wanted to share with you this awesome, much improved experience because I think it's worth mentioning that they've done a lot of work in just improving this whole experience and making it much easier to understand and taking care of the stuff that you spend a ton of money on to better your living space. So let's get back to the video. The best part about upgrading was how seamless it was. My existing SmartWings solar panels still work perfectly. My remote paired right away, and my Smart Life and Google Home automations didn't need to go through a significant amount of changes. I just paired the new blinds and everything synced without a hiccup. It was really awesome. It was an awesome upgrade experience. Battery life on these things is much improved. SmartWings rates these for around 4 to 6 months per full charge, and the solar panels keep them topped off, so you basically never really have to think about it unless you have your solar panel in a challenging space like I do. They have a rough time in receiving enough UV light to provide a substantial amount of charge, so the battery still drains, and I find myself having to charge these maybe every 9 or so months. So if you get the solar panels, make sure you place them in an area that it has significant exposure to the sun. And if your window doesn't have that, I would say save on the cost and just be prepared to charge up your SmartWings roller shades or dual shades or woven shades for that matter. If you're shopping right now, SmartWings gives you a solid lineup of motor options depending on your preference for smart home functionalities and setup. So if you don't want any smart home functionality, there's the rechargeable standard smart motor with battery. There's the Zigbee motor. There's the Matter motor.
What's the matter, baby? Nothing, sugar. What's the matter with you?
For Thread and Matter systems, there's Apple HomeKit motor, there's the Z-Wave motor, there's the Z-Wave motor, and a hardwired 12-volt DC 110 to 240 volt AC options if you'd rather avoid batteries entirely. But I would say that's a lot more involved when you're considering installation. It's nice to see this much platform flexibility, especially if you're building around a specific smart home ecosystem, because I know that's a challenge that I have when I'm evaluating things to add to my home. It has to have certain compatibility or it's just not even up for consideration or debate. It looks like SmartWings has kind of managed that because smart home technology has kind of gone off the deep end, but SmartWings got you covered there. One area where SmartWings still has some room to improve is their measuring instructions that are found on their website. They feel a little confusing. SmartWings does offer some resources to you in the frequently asked questions section that they can point you to someone that can help if you don't feel comfortable with a tape measure. And it's difficult, especially when your windows get rather large. You want to make sure that you're getting them the right information, because if you don't, that will set you off on the wrong path right away. And if you take anything away from this video and you're thinking about ordering, is that definitely double, triple check where those measurements fall and where you want your motor. because you can pick on which side of the motor that you want. Pick the side that avoids the window handles, latches, or any sensors, for home security, because you don't want to have anything obstructing the window's actual functionality, because it is all custom, depends on what your needs are and what you need for your home and your living space. If you saw my first SmartWings review, you know I had some critiques of the overall design and quality. The woven wood shades looked great, but they had enough issues that I couldn't really recommend them to everyone. This time though, it's a completely different experience. The dual shades check all of the boxes. They look fantastic. They perform quietly. Battery life is absolutely awesome and solid. And the old accessories still work with my new shades. Wrapping that all up into the shipping quality and how it has improved dramatically, I have no problem recommending the dual shades to anyone. I would probably go out on a limb and say that the dual shades are the best option that SmartWings offers in their lineup of shades. That's not to say that I think the roller shades don't have their place. I just think if you want a good looking standout feature of your window versus just having a solid sheet of material on your window, I would say that the dual shades could check all of those needs for you. Honestly, these are the shades that I should have gone with in the first place, and I couldn't be happier with the look and the performance in my theater. If you're choosing between SmartWings, single roller, and dual shades, here's my takeaway. If you're the kind of person who likes adjust lighting throughout the day, not just open or closed, the dual shades are the ones that I would pick if I were you. Less travel on the motors, more control over the lighting, and at the end of the day, better battery life. And they look just much more cleaner and upscaled for a finished look in your living space. I think that personally. Let me know with a comment down below if you agree with me or not. I think they look great. They're just a very unique look that add a ton of dimension to a space without taking up any space at all, because sometimes blinds, sit outside the window and they have an area where they take up space, and that's just not the case with the dual shade. As always, links for pricing and availability are in the description below. Some of them are affiliate links, which means if you buy through them, it helps support content creation here on this channel without costing you anything in addition to your orders. And if you do shop through those links, thank you in advance. I really appreciate it. You guys keep the lights on. Big thanks to SmartWings for sending these out. I hope that I answered some questions for you if you're considering ordering these, because there's still a pretty substantial cost at the end of the day if you're looking at covering a large window or multiple windows. But I will say that to cover the windows downstairs, I got a quote from the same people that did my upstairs, and it's a third of the cost. I think they upcharge for labor or whatnot, and those were not motored and not smart at all. They're just basically go and pull down and make your adjustments manually. But I do highly recommend SmartWings if you're considering outfitting your living space with some really high-end blinds without having the high-end cost. If you want to see just how critical I was in the last video, check out my original woven shade review. I'll link it here. I went through a lot more of the process and, kind of called them out quite a bit. Well, that about does it for me in this one. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, you know what to do. Thank you for taking the time to watch. I am Tomas, and I'll catch you in the next one.